DESIblitz.com.
This is Shashi Tharoor and you're watching me on DESIblitz.com. Well, it was important for me to explore my own beliefs, and some of them included beliefs that I had questioned at various stages of my life. But particularly in the light of this extraordinary movement in the last few years to portray Hinduism through the prism of the Hindutva movement, which happens to have been freed in many ways of any restraint by the fact that a party that professes the Hindutva ideology is now in power. And as a result, I realized, first of all, that it confirmed my own personal liberalism, both as a political idea, as principles of economics, but also as an attitude to life. I'm the kind of person who says, I accept people as I find them, I don't want to judge them, they can be or say whatever they want to be or say, so long as they don't harm others. And that's my attitude towards people. And I find that Hinduism takes a very similar attitude towards itself and other faiths. It says, we don't claim to be the only true religion in the world. All ways of worship are equally valid, that just as different rivers flow to the same sea, so also different religions reach the same God. We have no problem with any of that. And because no one's really seen what God looks like, you can imagine God as you wish. There's a cultural element to why people are born in their religion. They can choose to grow up in it, they can choose to change it, they can choose to abandon it. I certainly would not oblige anybody to follow any faith. And I think conversion by the sword is always a bad idea, because conversion of the heart and the mind is what should really matter. It's true that all religions have good things in them, and that all religions can lend themselves to distortion, to extremism, to fanaticism in the name of fundamentalism, and so on. And that, unfortunately, therefore, some people have given religion a bad name by using it for violence, by using it to justify violence or terror or hostility against other people. I remember my old boss at the UN, Kofi Annan, saying, the problem is never with the faith, it's with the faithful. I've spent about 130 odd pages describing my Hinduism, how I grew up in it, what I saw at home, my parents, what I read, what I learned, what the great preachers and teachers have taught, my own interrogations and questions and doubts. All of that's covered in that first bit. And then I go into, in the second bit, the Hindutva doctrine of the current ruling forces in our country. And I point out that really has nothing to do with Hinduism as a religion. It is actually a political ideology. And then from there, I have a section at the end which I call Taking Back Hinduism, where I reaffirm what I consider valuable about Hinduism and why liberal Hindus like myself, who see this as a religion of acceptance and inclusion, need to seize our own faith back from those who are reducing its soaring majesty, the great metaphysics and philosophical ideas of the Vedas and the Upanishads and so on, into something much more like the team identity of the British football hooligan. I think that's got to stop, and we need to therefore take back Hinduism. So that's the overall narrative of the book. It's Swami Vivekananda's famous speech in Chicago at the World Parliament Religions in 1893. And there are many things I've quoted from that in the book, which I think are wonderful lessons for everyone to know. In particular, about what we already talked about, this idea that, as he quoted a Sanskrit line, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti, there is one truth, but the different sages call it by different names. That idea is at the heart of Hinduism. But he said something that has stuck in my head since I was a teenager. He said, I'm proud to speak of a religion which has taught the world not just tolerance, but acceptance. Now, I've been thinking about that ever since. I mean, you really, I went to school where my textbooks told me that tolerance was a virtue, right? That a tolerant king is a good king because he tolerates others. But if you really think about it, tolerance is a bit of a patronizing idea, because the tolerant person says, I have the truth, you are in error, but I will magnanimously indulge you in your right to be wrong. Acceptance, which Swami Vivekananda was talking about, is a bit different. Acceptance says, I believe I have the truth, you believe you have the truth, I will respect your truth, please respect my truth. And to my mind, this is the great lesson of Hinduism. And it's a great recipe in a multi-religious country like India for all of us to live together. If I respect you, you go off and be a good Muslim. You respect me, I go off and be as good a Hindu as I can be. And at the end of the day, we both get along and we get on with other things. our religion doesn't become a source of conflict between us.